This talk will be in three parts. So Dmitry will outline the problem, and I will explain our solution to this problem, and after Dmitry will show you a demo of flight delay DApp deployed on xDai chain. So Dmitry.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Dmitry. I'm an engineer working for Etherisc and specifically the team involved in development of the insurance Ethereum app called Flight Delay. Flight Delay was the first pilot intended Ethereum insurance application development for Etherisc. So during the course of its growth, it encountered some problems that were solved eventually, but it got more complex than it ideally could be, and it is our belief that something is ideal when there's nothing else to remove, not when there's nothing else to add. And so let's move on to the first part. Okay, so if we were to summarize an Ethereum DApp in a minute or less, we would say that this decentralized app is a family of logical contracts permanently deployed to blockchain, and the deployer has no power over the contracts apart from the management and maintenance windows that he leaves intentionally and that are obvious to anybody who are to check the contract. The only interface for change left on this family of contracts is through the blockchain transactions that can be made by anybody as long as they are willing to pay a certain fee for the transaction. And any web interface in the internet is something that just provides the end user with the address and the format of the data that needs to be submitted by that the local wallet that user might have, or the local client for the Ethereum network. How does a basic insurance Ethereum app look and work? That would be a specific case of the Ethereum app, but in general, in the simplest flow, there is a user who makes the transaction request up in the top left. The request for the policy is something packed with data, relevant data for flight delay. That would be flight number, date, some other info that might be needed to underwrite the policy. But that's it. The contracts then make the request to the outside service. On the right there, the I is the service called the Oracle, which transforms the request into response that is expected by the contracts, and after the authorization, it either underwrites the policy or declines it based on the data received. The first problem Flight Delay encountered because of that simple flaw was that these 4 transactions needed to create a policy essentially require the application to be at least in 2 blocks, because you can pair the transactions from the user to the contracts and from the contracts to the Oracle into 1 block, and you can pair the transaction from the Oracle to the contracts and the response into another block, but that on Ethereum It is now with the average time for block being 15 seconds. That's approximately 30 seconds or more. So that's not all. We know that 30-something seconds to wait is actually the case of absolutely best scenario, because in Ethereum now the volume of the transactions that actually get into any given block is limited by the properties of the network. So it is often less than the accumulated volume of the transactions in the queue, pending transactions for the moment, which means that whenever the transaction doesn't get into the block, it gets left behind. It gets left behind to queue for the spot on the next block. And unfortunately, it is not first come, first served queue, because the entities that assemble blocks, miners, get to pick and choose, and naturally they choose the transactions that are paid more, not in an absolute volume, but paid more in bigger amounts per action performed, per operation performed. Or they can just pick the ones that should offer a certain amount or more. There is a risk when you submit a transaction to actually sit for an indefinite amount of time and wait for the low tides in the mining process when there are no other transactions to be performed, and the miners are willing to do the cheap ones. So if you set too low of an incentive on the transaction you sent, you are stuck waiting for the unspecified amounts of time, and there are actually high tides here, which is represented by the crypto zombie eating a crypto kitty that can span for days and paralyze the network overall. In the end, the wait times for our end users got too long, and we had to, even for the users who understood the limitations of the technology and were ready to sit and wait for a minute, for a couple of minutes, even they then got tired of looking at the spinner for a long time, so flight delay needed to be extended with a lot of sort of service functionality that wasn't required in general, like notifications, email deliveries, telling the customer that something went wrong or right. And not only that's a lot of busy work that's hit to the anonymity, because we now had to store the data on the client somewhere to deliver these emails. The second problem that arose from the variable price of the transaction was that essentially each transaction, though it was cheap compared to the premium paid on the policy, for example, when the policy is $20, then the transaction fee of 2 cents is negligible. But if we were to build the insurance product that would collect premiums periodically, once an hour, automatically, or something like that, that would be too much of a cost for the transaction. And with the variable prices, you actually can't set them through the app. It is the end user who sets the price of the transaction, so it's a bad experience for the user as well. The third major problem here was around the volatility of the cryptocurrencies used to to fuel the whole machine. You see wherever the things go for the Ethereum market, somebody gets upset because if the prices go low and there is a undesired incident for the end user, for the policy holder, then he gets less than he expected because of the volatility, and he's twice as unhappy. And if the price goes up, then he's getting paid essentially extra, but then the insurer gets unhappy and somebody gets hurt, no matter what. In the end, it's hard to persuade any license provider to deal in pure Ethereum. So flight delay got to be an insurance application that is that does the transfer of currencies from fiat to crypto on the user's behalf. Does buy a policy for him, waits for the payout, and then transfers the converts the transferred fiat back to the policy holder. That is a significant complication to the application as well. That's everything on the problem.
Yeah, thank you for explaining problems. Now I'm going to tell about solutions. So, what do we have here? Yeah, about POA Network. POA is a sidechain to Ethereum. So it means it's a new chain based on Ethereum protocol, but with different accounts. So basically it started with empty balances. So it's a second layer solution, means it's a parallel chain. It's two-way pegged to Ethereum. It means that tokens can be transferred from POA to Ethereum back and forth using what we call token bridge. It's a two-way pegged relay, which works in decentralized and trustless way. We have the network in production since December, and we recently launched another sidechain, which I'm going to explain today. And our interoperability solution was launched on May and in production since May. So our main focus is how to make experience for developers and DApps. And we are focused on three main things: usability, interoperability, and developer experience. And about 2 weeks ago, we launched xDai chain. So it's a new chain based on Ethereum protocol with DAI as native token. And here's a comparison of three networks. So problems we have outlined on the right side, right with Ethereum. So we have 15 seconds blocks, but blocks mostly full. And also we have gas price volatile, so it can be auctioned. And in normal situations like 1 to 3 giveaway, but in something called gas storms, it can be hundreds of giveaway, right? And blocks are mostly full with transactions from different DApps. And the token price itself is volatile. So here is a problem, right? We have two parameters which are volatile, so it's hard to predict price of usage of the platform. On POA core chain, we solve the one problem, right? We have a fixed gas price and we have blocks mostly empty. And also because the platform is vertically and horizontally scalable, block size can be adjusted by market conditions. So if people use platform more than platform allow for now, then platform can extend blocks and make blocks bigger. And there are different types of sidechains, and some sidechains have different block size. But for POA core, the token is volatile, so it's an open market. And the problem here is that price of this token is determined by market, right? And the price of computation is very small. It's 2 orders of magnitude smaller than Ethereum. But the balances are in volatile currency, right? So we have a problem here. And in our new product, which is xDai chain, we solved all of these problems. So the protocol is scalable, vertically scalable, so validators can increase block size and decrease block time. It's a fixed gas price, and also it's a fixed price of platform usage, because native token of this platform is denominated in DAI. So it means we have a protocol like Ethereum, but instead of Ethereum, we have can you check it? We have DAI as a native currency. So what is DAI? Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. We all know what DAI is, right? Just outline that we have like 57 publicly available stable tokens, and only 4 of them are programmatic. And DAI is great because it's collateralized it's collateralized on-chain, and it's the first cryptocurrency based on blockchain without any external oracles. So we decided to build this sidechain with MakerDAO, and we launched it about 2 weeks ago. Can we switch back to a second? Okay, to make this platform possible, I just want to explain a few details about what made this platform possible. This platform is the first ever platform with a stable USD token. So we have USD-based stable coins, but most of them are ERC20 tokens on top of Ethereum. And this blockchain has Tether, DAI chain. Sorry, for a joke. DAI as a native token. So it means all computations on this platform denominated in US dollars, all balances in US dollars, platform usage in US dollars. And this chain launched in mode which we call hard spoon. In hard fork, when we create a new network, we transfer all balances from previous network to the new network. Like Ethereum Classic, hard forked from Ethereum, and now we have 2 networks which had the same balances at one period of time, right? And after hard fork, they split it and they have different balances. In hard spoon, a new network starts with empty balances, and there is no reward, right? So when validators create blocks in this network, they receive 0 reward. And when this network is started, it has 0 balances. So when we started this network, it was an empty network. What we created a bridge between Ethereum and this new hard spoon, and in this hard spoon, the bridge is authorized to create new coins. So basically it works as lock on one side and mint and burn on another side. So on Ethereum, when the user logs his DAI coin, the bridge mint new xDai coins for him on this sidechain. When the first transaction was relayed from main Ethereum network to xDai chain, for example, for $1, total supply of DAI decreased by 1 because this 1 DAI was locked on mainnet, and the market cap of xDai chain increased by 1. So this network received first transaction, and this transaction increased market cap of this network. So this network right now is very small. So market cap of xDai chain is $6,600 something, and it shows real utility and utilization of this network. So why it's important for DApp developers and applications? First of all, it's a platform fully compatible with Ethereum protocol, right? It utilizes a security model of POA, what we call on-chain governance and setup, and this setup is working securely in public environment since December, and all networks based on the same security assumptions protect more than $1 billion of public value. So it's quite widely used consensus and governance mechanism. So this exact network gets all benefits of POA based network with on-chain governance, blockchain explorer, support of 9 wallets, and so forth. And this platform is stable, means that balances are stable, platform usage is stable, and basically all problems outlined by Dmitry are solved on this platform. So applications can get benefits of stable US dollar, but also will not have problems of deploying app on Ethereum mainnet, right? And this solution is available now. So this solution works in public, and you can start deploying and developing right now. So Dmitry will show how it works on xDai chain, the flight delay application, right?
Very good. So here's the blockchain explorer we have for the xDai chain that we can that Igor told us about. What we essentially did with flight delay was change its deployment configuration a little bit to address the JSON RPC of the DAI network, which is DAI.POA.network, as I recall, and that's it. And after that, we can just use the migrate script we have in the flight delay contracts, which are open sourced, so you might want to try that later on. We'll run it now to watch the transactions deployed to the DAI network. Now we can see the contract creation going through with the network. It takes some time.
Yeah, and when you develop on xDai chain, you get full-featured blockchain explorer with reactive transactions. You can see how transactions are created, blocks are created. You can see market cap of this network is $6,800, and all the data from the blockchain available from API. It indexes all ERC20 and ERC721 tokens. So these tools, which are available from BlackScout on Ethereum mainnet and other chains, is also available on xDai chain. So we can see that after Dmitry run a migration, contracts created, and flight delay DApp is being developed or being deployed on xDai chain. So how far?
With the fees next to zero. We are still going. Now we are registering administrator accounts for the contracts we deployed. We are almost there. Essentially, the deploy will finish with the list of contracts we get deployed, list of addresses. That list just goes into flight delay environment configuration variables. So we also have the UIs for flight delay here as well. I have a little virtual machine. Yeah, while we wait, maybe somebody has questions, please.
Let's say I'm developing an application that needs a DAI-based application that needs a lot of transactions per second. Why would I want to use the xDai sidechain instead of deploying my own copy of the xDai sidechain?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's in our mindset that people will create more network and specialized network for their needs. So when you use xDai chain, you know who validators are, right? So this network is public, and validators of xDai chain will be MakerDAO, POA Network, Give, White Hat Group, P2P org, and some other respectable companies in this space. And that's a benefit of using xDai chain from POA and MakerDAO, right? But you can get setup script, and you can deploy your own sidechain, and you will use address of a bridge deployed by you on Ethereum side, and you will point out to token bridge application, and your users will deposit on your bridge, not on xDai chain bridge, and they will get native tokens on your instance of xDai chain. But the question which you will need to solve is who validators are, what gives decentralization to this network, what is governance of this network, who will support this network, who will deploy it, and so forth, right? When you deploy a DApp and you just use it, right, you don't think about all these properties. You think, oh, it's a public blockchain. Someone takes care of it. But when you deploy it yourself, you have to do it yourself. So that's a benefit. But you can think, no, I don't want DAI, I want something else. For example, I like Haven, right, or Tether or something, another stable, or I will create my stable token myself. Can I do it? Yes, you can do it. You can have blockchain explorer, bridge, consensus algorithm, governance, and all these tools are available for free under GPL3 license. At POA Network, we don't have any private repositories, so everything we have is publicly available, documented. If it's about smart contracts, it's audited. We are working with prominent firms in this space, like Chain Security, Mixbytes, and other players. So I think that's a benefit of using open source software, right? So you can get it and launch your instance. So let's go back to the demo.
Yes, if anybody followed along, then you could see here in the virtual machine console that I started of our repositories, two of our applications that serve as an API and the web interface. Essentially, we can now just fill some data in flight delay and order policy.
Is it working on the xDai chain now?
It's working on xDai chain. We'll order policy and look at it. Actually, searching for flights is something that Oracle does, not the chain.
We have a next topic. We'll look for solution for this next problem.
It's deployed online. If you want to try it out yourself, you can go to DAI Chain Explorer, and you can go to the demo deployed and probably buy an insurance policy for 5 cents or something.
Great. So what does it mean in terms of transaction costs and scalability? How many can we issue policies that are like 10 cents per hour insurance for bike?
Yeah, good thing about xDai chain that price is the same today and it will be the same tomorrow and in a week and so, right? So price configured this way that simple token transfer, which takes 21,000 gas, costs like 500 transfers cost 1 cent, right? So it's very inexpensive.
So we can do 500 policies, payouts or receipts of premiums for just 1 cent?
Not really, because the creation of smart contracts and the execution of smart contracts require more gas.
Okay.
So more gas you use, more you pay, right? But this is a trend of public blockchain that they're trying to attract new users by stimulating, by decreasing price of. For sure, it may cost more for validators to store this data for now, but adoption of sidechain is more important for the ecosystem than getting fees. But if you think about incentivization of validators, they're incentivized because they get this transaction fee, right?
Yes, excellent. And can validators be set up, let's say, speaking of a hard spoon with, let's say, can traditional organizations like brokerages or insurance companies, if they need to fulfill the requirements, for example, to run and store the data only in certain jurisdictions because maybe they're required by law, can they do that?
Yeah, that's the beauty of sidechains, that sidechains can be launched in different jurisdictions with different sets of validators and with different requirements. And even the same sidechain can be launched with different gas price setting. So you can get, for example, the same security assumptions, the same tools, but for different price. And it's good to have different sidechains with different price, because people who want to pay more can go to sidechains for real, which be more likely empty because gas price is more, right? So that's also a beauty of launching different sidechains with different parameters.
Excellent. Is there anything to show, because we need to get to the next topic?
Yeah, I think that we're done.
Closing remarks done? Great. Excellent. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah. And while Igor and Dmitry are here, I wanted to thank POA Networks for being not just a contributor and the first-class citizen of the future decentralized insurance, for contributions to making possible things that were not possible just 6 months or a year ago, but also for sponsoring this very conference with the monetary amounts that paid for the stuff in the real world, not on the side chain, right, but meals and drinks, so thank you very much. And Dmitry for working with Profire, which also sponsors, so thank you guys very much, for it would not be possible without you.
Can I add one more remark?
Sure.
So, DAI, when we think about this, it's a very exciting thing, right? I hope I will not disclose any private information, but we paid sponsorship for this conference in DAI, which we printed ourselves, right? So sponsorship payment was paid in US dollars, which we printed ourselves. But we collateralized either to print this DAI, and we sent this DAI, and you paid using this DAI for real stuff, right? So that's the magic of internet money.
Woohoo! So everyone is like, what do you mean printed DAI? What exactly, how do you print DAI?
Yeah, you have to collateralize either first, right? Okay. And after you can print yourself.
Okay, great guys. Anyone tried that before?
Yes.
Yes, so we have, if you have not, highly recommend, please go ahead and print some DAI, and soon you will be able to buy real insurance that will go into real collateral, a real risk pool in a real bank account. And that is the power what's available today. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.